Happy New Year. Very happy that we're all here together to starting the year off in a beautiful way together. So let's start out just straight away, really feeling Om deep inside of us. Really feel it before we even do it. Feel yourself like in there, feeling that word Om. Just really feel it inside of yourself. And even take a couple of deep breaths on your own. Let everything go because we're just here together and we just want to speak and feel and experience spirituality together. Right? So let us do three ohms together. Om. 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 It always feels so nice to start things that way. So I hope that you use that in other places and situations that you have going on for you so that you know that that oming, the vibration of that moving through you, moves everything through you. Anything that's negative gets moved through you. And it's not like we're like, okay, negativity outside of me, let's outside of me, put negativity outside of me. No, it's not like that. As it moves through you, the negativity is purified. So when it does move through us, it moves out into the world. It's glorious. It's a really glorious vibration as it moves through us. So because it's the beginning of the year, I thought we'd do things a little bit different. Mainly because I'm a little bit different because of the things that I've been through in these last few months. Thank you. Appreciate that. So we're going to talk not about me, but about things, how that works for all of us. But the word or the theme for this whole year is going to be the word friendship. Now, you might be like, friendship? Isn't there a deeper word than friendship? Not really. Not really. I'm not talking just about pals and buddies and, people that we're like, oh, hey, I haven't seen you for a while, friend. That's all really good. Don't get me wrong. But there's so much more depth in the word friendship than we really experience. It's sort of like we've got these jewels in the cupboard and we're just taking out the little ones that we can see. But when you go deeper into the word friendship, you begin to see all of these other jewels, these really beautiful parts to it. And I'm even going to tell you the word for this month for all of January is friendship. So we're starting with friendship in January and we're going to continue on with it, but yet we'll have the other words to support our understanding of what friendship can really be. So friendship is one of those things that part of it that makes up friendship is problems. When things happen to us, we we see really our friends because they're the ones that are there to support us. And you can be a really good friend to somebody and live far away and not really ever have a one-to-one relationship with them, but you can be friends with them by considering their situation and sending them love. And I say that because that has been my experience. I have been really experiencing um, your loving thoughts towards me. So, of course, that brings me to the word friendship. It's been very much on my mind. And it's an idea, if you will, that we don't really promote. We want to have peace in the world. And my teacher always used to say, um, if you don't cultivate peace in yourself, you can't be a peacemaker out in the world. Because we're here like, going, bah, 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 we need peace. Bah, bah, bah. These people, where's the peace? Where's the peace? Yeah, where is it? So we always have to have this understanding and acceptance that what we want to see in the world, we want to see in ourselves first. Because we look around and we go, why don't those people act like this? And why don't they act like that? But yet we're not looking at ourselves and say, why am I not acting like that? Why am I only acting like that once in a while? Of course, that's why I notice it in other people because I am being that way too. So with spirituality, we always want to cultivate the inner friendship, the friendship with ourselves. So how we treat others is basically how we also treat ourselves. And if we're really highly critical all the time of other people, like in the political arena or any other arena, neighbors, relatives, whatever it may be, workmates, we're that way with ourselves too. So friendship is this word that has to do with learning to be a peacemaker. But it's learning to be a peacemaker within oneself. And as it moves through you, then there's more peace in your relationships. So we sit back and we want to, like I said, we want to have peace in the world. And we're like, okay, we got to have more peace. We got to have more peace. Why aren't people practicing peace? Like I said, we don't practice peace within ourselves. And in the Vedic philosophy, the word friend is very, very old. There's even a very old god, Mitra, who is the god of friendship. And remember that gods and goddesses, when you think about a pantheon of gods and goddesses, they're all aspects of the same thing. So when we talk about God, we're talking about all these aspects. But you see, we can't make friends with one another because we think, I can't be friends with you because I worship over here and you worship over there. We can't be friends. Really, what you have in common is the same. It's just that this person likes this type and this person likes this type. Some people only like a male god. Some people only like a female god. Some people like the half and half. There's all kinds of different things that there can be. And it doesn't matter. And that's the truth. The form is a place for us to put our concentration. And each form does have certain characteristics, but underneath all of those characteristics is the one characteristic, which is love. And friendship is all about love. It's about kindness and service to one another. So we start with this friendship with ourself, and ourself is no different than when we use the word God or goddess or any word that you like that represents the divine. So the divine friendship is within yourself. It's how you treat yourself. In Eastern philosophy, uh, bhakti, like you've heard me talk about bhakti before, this is the path of devotion. And the path of devotion can't be learned intellectually. So a person who's never learned how to read a book can become enlightened. They don't need to read. We're like, that can't be right. I've been reading books my whole life and I'm on the path and I do all this work. I'm not saying that's bad. Mm-mm. What I'm saying is that no matter what you read or you don't read, whether you can read deep, deep, deep esoteric works, you're a physicist, whatever it may be, and you read these kinds of things, the spiritual word of friendship has to do with intuition. These kinds of understandings can't be learned merely by reading. As you're reading, you can have an intuition because you stop and you go, what does that mean? What would that feel like to understand that? What does it feel like to understand something that's this deep? How does it feel? Intuition, when I say feel, I'm not talking about our emotions. I'm talking about what in on this side of the world, we call it our sixth sense, but it's really what I call common sense because it's what we have in common. Intuition helps us to see that everything is in common with everyone. This is why we can feel things about other people and think, oh, I think I understand what they're really going through over there. That's an intuition because you can feel it. You can sense it. You can sense it within yourself, what they're going through, and it comes into you and you feel it. So it's a type of friendship. It's an exchange of love. It's an exchange of love. So in this way, bhakti is about being devoted, but it doesn't mean you have to go and you have to do these rituals and you have to attend this particular place and you have to do that. All of these things are good, but you don't have to. You don't even have to learn how to read to understand what I'm saying. Intuition is one of those things it's where wisdom is. We don't get wise only because we go to the library and read all the books there. You can become highly educated, and that's a wonderful thing. I hope you know that I realize that. But wisdom isn't dependent upon that. Wisdom is felt. It's sensed. And as you learn to use our intuition, as we learn to use our intuition, then we begin to change how we respond to our own needs and to the needs of others. Intuition helps us to feel the interconnectedness that's been there all along. With intuition, there's no bantering of this side against this side. No, this is what's really going on. No, you people are crazy. No, you're crazy. You know, you're crazy. You're crazy. I know the way. No, you don't know the way. All of these different things. Those things make us be like this with one another. We have our backs to one another. This, which looks like this is friendship. This is friendship. This is not. So, friendship with the divine, ultimately, apparently, I say apparently because, well, you'll hear why. This idea called God is not way out there. It is, but we can't understand that. We're very invested in what's going on today inside of me and where am I going today? What's my plans? What is this? So way out there, way out in the cosmos, we can't really identify with the idea of God. We just look at it like, well, there's some planets and we live in a universe and blah, 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 but we can't understand what that all means. We have all these scientific terms for all these different things. This is a planet, this is a star, this is a galaxy, this is this, and they're made up of this gas and that gas and all of that is lovely information, but it isn't wisdom. We don't want to confuse information with wisdom. It's not the same thing. Information can be knowledge, and when you combine knowledge with experience, then you begin to experience wisdom because you begin to see, oh, that hurts. And if that hurts me, that'll hurt someone else. And we won't be able to move forward if we're both hurt. If we just have information, we're like, yeah, so what? You're hurt. That's right. You're hurt. Yeah, how's it feel? Friendship is not the first thing that we think of when it comes to spirituality. We think of love, of course, and friendship is all about love, and it's about sharing. It's about commitment. It's about service. It's about wisdom. So as you well know, the world's kind of crazy. There's a lot of things going on in our space, in our country and all the countries surrounding us and all the way on the other side of the world, little countries, big countries, everyone is struggling with the word friendship. Where is friendship? If I say to you the word politics, do you associate that with the word friendship? Probably not. Well, it's politics. You can't have friends in politics because then you're going to be doing this and that and choosing sides, and you probably won't get anything done. Because the word friendship, what I'm talking about, is very deep. You have to feel it. It's something inside of you where you want to treat yourself with dignity, with respect. And as you treat yourself more often with dignity and respect, you get accustomed to how it feels. Oh, that feels better. I do feel better about myself, even though they said these things about me. I must remember who I am. No matter how much they gossiped about me, no matter how much they spread lies about me, I have to remember who I am, or I'm going to want to do to them what they have done to me. This is how deep friendship is. It's very, very deep. So it's like coming home to yourself and making sure that you remember who you are. So when we say God lives within me, it's an interesting kind of thing because that does that mean God's little? God lives over here in this little spot right here. And I'm the big part. We forget that God is love, love is God. God is love, love is God. And where is love? First of all, in this way of looking at things, it is within us. But for some reason or other, we think it's a little wimpy because we think of it as a feeling or an emotion. We don't think of it as a power, a strength, a source of enlightenment. But we forget to say, I live in God. I live in love. It's all around me. It's everywhere. If you say God is within me, remember God is outside of you, on top of you, beneath you, behind you, in front of you, in the trees, in the sand, in serpents, in frogs and lizards, in our enemies, in the mud, in our words, in our songs, in every form of expression. And you can call it whatever you want. But to make friends is to really have a deep desire to be good to oneself. So that, like I said, the feeling of goodness, you begin to get used to it and you don't want it to go away. It feels good and you're willing to fight for it, not fight others. To fight for it means to let go of our deep-seated resentments, our deep-seated criticisms of one another and ourselves, to let go of those kinds of enemies. When we are so unsatisfied, oh, look, I got $1 million. Well, that is not enough because they got 2 million. And we have to have more and more and more and more and more and more and more. And we become insatiable. No friendship in there. Insatiability is not friendship. Friendship satisfies. It satisfies where we can say, oh my gosh, I am enough. I am enough. Who I am is enough. And it's genuine. At first, if you say that affirmation, I am enough, you might be like, yeah, right. But if you do affirmations with your heart and not your head, and you feel it move through you, the I am principle is everything. Because everything that you say after the word I'm or I am, you're identifying yourself about. Oh, I'm so stupid. You see how I said that with power? Now that's in me and it's moving through me. And now it's a belief system inside of me. How often do you say to yourself with depth of feeling, I am enough. I am good. I am love. I am truth. I am divine. And I live within the divine. I am divine and I live within the divine. So then we're realizing that we're all part of the divine. We're not separate. When we make ourselves separate, then we live solely by ego. Like we're completely different from all the animals, all other humans, all other life forms. We feel so different. And when we feel really different like that and really, really unique, then we have the ability to live by our ego only. I am chosen. This happens in people have feelings of I am chosen or I am special, particularly when they're studying um, religion, spirituality, and politics. It goes off into financial things and all kinds of other ways too. But for today, for our purposes, is it's important to not think of yourself only as special. It can lead to all kinds of things because it's going to be hard for you to have friends because they can't ever be as special as you. You see, that's different than I am good. I am goodness is different than I am special. I am chosen is very, very different than I am good. I am truth. I am a human being. These things are different. Once we begin to think that we're special, so to speak, then we only cultivate those things so that people can see how special we are. And now we're not living for our own beingness, we're living to be seen by others. And that becomes insatiable. It's never going to be enough. Okay, now I got 10,000 followers. Now I need 100,000 followers. Now I need 1 billion followers. And I'm still trying to get more. Maybe I can get all 7 billion people on the planet to know my name. Still won't be enough. In your next lifetime, you'll still be like that, insatiable, chasing the feeling rather than stopping and becoming the feeling. I am enough. I am satiated with love. I am so satiated with love that it has to come out of me. It has to move through me because it keeps reproducing inside. And then we start to have feelings about friendship, about wanting to help others. Where we have the time to help others. We're not like just deciding that I need me to be this and that and brrr. We're like, well, wait a minute. I can help this person. I can take some time out of my day to help this person. And if you're at home and you can't go and help anybody, maybe you've been injured and you can't leave your house. How do you help other people? And if you feel like, well, that's kind of crazy, or that doesn't seem to be enough, it just means you're unfamiliar with it. That's all. The familiarity of going inside and sending love to other people, once that is part of you, you won't want to let it go. It'll root inside of you. And you'll want to send that out. And you'll realize that that's what a peacemaker does. A peacemaker makes friends with themselves. They make peace with themselves. Like because we know that this this is who we really are. We live in these wonderful bodies, and they are wonderful, whether they're perfect or imperfect. They're wonderful, and we can't have this experience on this glorious planet without them. But they're temporary, and we are not. They are temporary, and we are not. I don't say that like, well, they're temporary, so who gives a crap about them? I don't mean it like that. Yes, take care of them, be good to them, but they are the vessel for us to be here, so to speak. To do what? To live in love. To remember that there's no difference between God and love. So we can use the word God or we could use the word love. And really, honestly, it makes no difference. Makes no difference. It's all about love. And so friendship, one of the beautiful things about is friendship is available as a healing tool. So when you're having a difficult time, you may say, I don't have any friends. There's nobody that's there around me. And again, you see, we've forgotten ourselves. Oh, great. Here she goes again saying, you have yourself. Who cares if you have anybody else? And I don't mean it like that. Like, who cares if you have anyone else? And I don't mean it like that. I mean it in the sense of don't devalue your own worth. One of the things about spirituality, particularly Eastern spirituality, is that we practice to become enlightened. I don't even know what the hell that is. Of course, I'm not an enlightened being. But what I do know is through my practice, I feel so much better than I used to feel when I was a lot younger. Because I've had a practice for such a long time, I go to it. It's something that I do naturally anyway at this point in my life. But recently, I have needed more friendship, so to speak, friendship with the divine, because of my body was a little broke. And when that happens, it makes your mind get a little broke, makes your emotions feel a little broke. You're limited. I can't do this, can't do that. You become very dependent on other people being kind to you. So what I'm saying to you is whatever it is that makes you feel separate from others, makes you feel separate from yourself. When we feel separate from ourselves, we feel separate from others. And so that can be paralyzing for people. They don't want to do spiritual exercises. They're like, why? There's nobody here. What's the point? Again, a devaluing of the self. The bodies are wonderful, and we put a lot of energy, a lot of thought, a lot of money. Some people put a lot of money into their bodies to make them be the way that they want them to be. But it doesn't make you any happier. It kind of might make you feel more proud, might want to make you feel more like I'm special, and all that's good too. I'm not saying that, that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's not enough. Because ultimately, you're going to want more and want more and want more because you're looking for that feeling. You're looking for that feeling that no matter if you have 1,000 people around you, 10,000 people around you, or no people around you, you always have you, and you are part of the divine. Very difficult idea. It's not supposed to be easy. We're talking about enlightenment here. But if you talk to a yogi, they'll tell you it's very easy. Of course, because they know the truth that it is easy, but we don't know that. So we have to work at it until it begins to get to a point where it becomes easier and easier and easier to remember that we are love and to live in love within ourselves, within our relationships around us, with animals, with the elements, with others. Friendship, friendship with the self. So when there's nobody around you and you feel very on your own, or maybe even the word lonely. And anything, you could have people around you and still feel lonely. You can have a whole family around you and feel lonely because you're going through something that they're not. And it makes you feel like, but they don't understand. No, they don't completely understand what you're going through. And you don't know what they're really going through either. But we forget that part because we feel so misunderstood. We forget that they're misunderstood too. So the first thing we want to do is to heal within ourselves and show up for ourselves and start to speak with more depth to yourself about yourself. And ask yourself, do I have love in me? I don't feel other people giving it to me. Okay, but is that proof if people give it to you? Is that proof to you that you have love within inside of you? No. Because somebody tells us that they love us doesn't mean that suddenly, poof, magically we feel completely like we have love inside of us. I mean, haven't you ever been in a relationship where you're wanting the other person to say, I love you, and then they don't say it and they don't say it, and you're like, hey, don't you love me? Maybe the person says, yeah, I just don't like to say it. Well, I want you to say it. Now, do you think this is all about love? This is about me really feeling very empty inside, and I need you to fix me. Won't happen. Won't happen. So, no matter what, we have to be able to cultivate love from the inside out. That's why it's nice for someone to tell you that they love you. But do they love themselves in the sense of respectfully? Do they treat themselves respectfully? Because if they don't treat themselves respectfully, but you want them to tell you that they love you, it's not going to be the same unless they also treat themselves that way. So when they treat themselves with love, you can feel that from them. And it goes inside of you and it helps you to go, it doesn't matter if they say it or not. I know they're good. I know their word is good because their actions are good. And we want that for ourselves. We want to have good words to ourselves, for ourselves, about ourselves, so that we too can give that love through our words, through our actions, through service to one another. I have no idea why climate change is a political concept. I don't have any idea about that. I don't. I have no understanding of how that happened. Doesn't matter. It's happened, but it never happened to me. To me, everything is changing all the time in the world. The weather, whatever you want to call it, everything is changing. And in Eastern philosophy and indigenous philosophy here, humans make weather. Humans make weather. So we've had climate change from the beginning of time. The climate is always changing, and it changes in accordance to the hearts and minds, mostly of human beings. Animals affect the weather too, because all of the elements, the water, the air, the earth, everything is all interrelated, just like the organs in our body are all interrelated. Everything is interrelated. If we think that the weather happens in and of itself, and humans have nothing to do with it, and the animals have nothing to do with it, what? How could that possibly be? How could that possibly be? Weather is not philosophical. It is not political. It is not religious. It is the result of how the elements are coming together in a particular time frame. How we use water. Our bodies are mostly made of water. How could we not be related to rivers? How could we not be related to oceans? How could we not be related to clouds? We are mostly water. And water is the source of life as we know it. We are a big source of life on the planet. So many of us were made of water. And if we don't take care of us and we don't really think about where water comes from and we don't think about purity in water, then the rivers will change. The lakes will change. Everything else will change, and not for good. But when we remember that we are water, our bodies are made of water, mostly, and we treat this better and we develop an interest in water, then we change weather. We change ourself, which changes one another. How we are with water. Not just how much do you use, there's that. But you don't want to have dirty water coming out of your taps. Neither do I. Nobody does. First of all, we want water to come out of the taps and we want it to be clean. But we don't think about where it comes from. And we don't think about what we're putting into it. How did it get into this shape? Mostly human beings and our habits. Because we have lost our friendship with water. You see the word friendship? It's deeper than just, hey, buddy. That's a good thing. Hey, buddy, that's a good thing. But friendship with water is understanding that there's this relationship and that what you put into it is what you get back. Friendship, friendship, friendship. The oceans, rivers, lakes, snow, glaciers, everything is changing because human beings are changing. We're changing. And we can say not necessarily for the best, but remember that when we have pain, when we have problems, when we have ill health, when we have ill mental health, ill physical health, we want to heal. And we start to change. Oh gosh, I've been smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day, and now my lungs hurt. 2 packs of whatever it is out in the air will pollute our air. And the lungs, which are our forests, will get hurt too. Because we're related to the bigger lungs as well as the little lungs. We're related with one another. We're interrelated. We make weather. There's so many of us. We think of ourselves as so smart. We can go to the moon. We can go to Mars. But we have dirty water and not enough. I'm not quite sure that's as smart as we could possibly be. Something to ponder on. Because water affects our food chains, right? Our tables, our health. We don't think about it so much because we've had so much. But if you look at your news feed, you'll see that's something that isn't there for everyone because we don't have that kind of friendship. Human beings with one another, we don't have that kind of big friendship yet. We can't be friends with this country. Now we're going to fight them over water. No friendship, you see? Friendship is very, very important. As we have friends, personal friends, we have to learn to make friends with animals. We share the land with them. All over the world, you read articles about suddenly the bears are coming into the towns, foxes and wolves and leopards in India coming into the towns. And everybody's irritated about this. Why has that happened? Because we have not made friends with them and where they live, their habitats. So they have to change. Now we see them as bad, as invaders. If they were immigrants, same way they would be treated. Humans. You come into our land, you don't have enough, you can't come here where we have enough. I don't see this in a political way. I want you to know that. I see this in terms of friendship. I'm not picking anybody out here. We all have to learn to make friends with the elements, with one another. Well, I guess we don't have to. Apparently, we don't have to. But it would be wise, it would be good of us to consider making friends with ourselves, which means making friends with others, with the elements, being aware of things. So, one of the things, of course, that we can do is help ourselves to be friends with ourselves and make sure that we make time within ourselves to send energy. And you can send energy out for love, of course, and I hope that you do, and for peace. But be aware of it moving through you so that it purifies you first. As you send out peace to the world, make sure that you feel it moving through your body, through your mind, through your emotions. Because remember, we cannot be peacemakers if we do not practice making peace with ourselves. That's what we have to do. And as we make peace with ourselves, we will view the elements differently because we'll be like, the air is the air's bad. And it's bad for my friends over there, and it's bad for my family, and it's bad for the people that I've never met before. How do I change this? I'm just one person. Change yourself. And to people around you, somebody may ask you, how can you be so calm when the world is falling apart? I'm not calm. I practice peace. And it helps me to be strong, stronger than I ever was before. Making peace with myself makes me change how I view the world, makes me change my habits of how I use water or how I am with the air or with the earth, with all of the elements. Being more conscious about my thoughts as they move out of me, remembering that thoughts are not in the brain and just in your head, and it doesn't matter what you think. Everything that you think affects your entire body, and it moves out and affects other people's bodies. It affects the weather. We are one earth, and we all live on the same home. And of course, our thoughts affect one another. Every home that you live in, my thoughts are affecting the two other people that are in this room right now. Their thoughts affect me. Your thoughts affect me. My thoughts affect you. And so on and so forth. But we don't think about that. Just our thoughts. We're like, I didn't say that to that person. I don't know why they say that. Did you think it? You may not have had to say it to affect somebody else. So negative thoughts, because we think, well, I've got to tell them how bad they are. I've got to criticize them. I've got to get in there and get that company, that bad company. I got to tell them how bad they are. They probably already know. They probably already know. Tell them something they don't know, that peace is possible. It's not only possible, but it has to be probable. It has to be probable. Or those that come up behind us, the younger generation, what do they get? They get leftovers, even worse than leftovers. They get dirtiness in all of the elements. That's not the gift I want to give young people. The people that are the unborn people are actually us because we'll come back. So all of this that you're doing now, all of us are like, oh, like not thinking about it. I don't have to think about the world or the earth or all of that. That's just bullpucky. I don't need to have all that bothering me. I've got work to do. Well, we'll come back to this world that nobody cared about. It's important to know that the soul doesn't die, only the bodies. The soul doesn't die. To be a human being, apparently, according to the yogis, is quite unique in the entire universe. I've even read from some of them where they say that there are souls all over the universe. Can you imagine just that sentence? Just that. There are souls all over the universe clamoring, hoping to get a lifetime as a human being. It's so rare to have a human birth, but we treat it like it's nothing. Not all the time, and not all of us, but we probably have in other lifetimes if you're not doing it now. So I say that so that you remember to have friendship with yourself. Because we're not just here to buy pretty objects or to have legacies where people remember our name. We could become infamous, remember, rather than famous. So, so what if somebody knows your name? How are they using it in vain? Oh, yeah. Remember so and so who lived 100 years ago? Yeah, you want to be like him or her? You don't want that. What's important is that we remember how amazing it is to have life and to be able to really think deeper thoughts, philosophy, spirituality, to become aware that every single thing is actually interrelated and that how you move, what you personally as an individual think and feel and say is so important that it affects the whole world. One person who makes peace within themselves will become a peacemaker. We need more than one peacemaker. But each person who makes peace with themselves becomes a peacemaker. So it's possible to have billions of peacemakers. You might say that's not probable, though. But you see, you don't know that to be true. Don't give in to those kinds of doubts. I'm not fluffy optimistic in that way. Because remember, optimism comes from curiosity. Aren't you curious of what it would feel like to live on a planet that we actually understand that everything is interrelated, that all the organs in my body are all interrelated? So if my heart doesn't function well, it affects my lungs, it affects how I walk, it affects my brain, it affects so many other things. Of course. If your digestion isn't working, your food isn't going around through you properly, it affects everything. So we are an aspect of this bigger. We're the micro of the macro. All we have to do is see it within ourselves and become more devoted to improvement within ourselves. Not merely for beautification, because beautification comes from peace because you shine. A person who is a peacemaker, a true peacemaker, has a huge amount of energy that pours off of them. And it just comes off in ripples and ripples and ripples. And all that energy goes out into the world. And people who work on themselves to make peace with themselves are like, I don't know, they're like some sort of a cosmic vacuum up in the sky, vacuuming up all the crap in the air. Don't you want to be a cosmic vacuum? So I say this to you so that you remember that we're all interrelated and it's good to have humor. It's really good to have humor. And, to know that laughter, when you're laughing, you can't think a negative thought. And that's the pseudo enlightenment. Because in that moment, when you're laughing and you don't have a single negative thought going on throughout your body or your mind, you experience enlightenment, which makes everything smile. Every part of you in that moment of laughter makes every part of you smile. And then as soon as the next thought comes in, boom, it goes away. But you see, you want to focus on that one moment so that you know you can bring it back. And that's what we want to do is we want to keep bringing that back within ourselves so that we become stronger and kinder. This is why it takes such a long time to become enlightened. I mean, it's one laughter after another, really. That's a lot of laughter. It takes a long time to be able to be without a negative thought. Negative meaning a harmful thought. As you think thoughts that harm yourself, you do not laugh when you are thinking thoughts negatively about yourself. You can't laugh. So then when that gets pushed out at other people, because you see the same thought, the same thing that you see within yourself and you see with that out there in somebody else, how you treat yourself is how you're going to treat them. It just becomes contagious. So negativity is terribly and horribly contagious and has it grows and it can go faster and faster and faster. And you flip that over, positivity does the same thing. Peace does the same thing. It grows and it grows and it grows. But that makes people want to take care of it. When we are harmful to ourselves and we become harmful to others, it grows, but it's sinister. And it makes the air dirty. It makes the water dirty. Because who gives a damn? This is how I make my money. We're all part of it. I'm not trying to make you feel guilty because I don't have faith that guilt is a good thing. If you feel really guilty, you're not going to be doing something to bring in good. You're so busy feeling guilty. No, come on. Be friends with yourself. Know that you've become aware that you've hurt yourself or you've hurt somebody else. You don't want to wallow in that and think what a bad person you are. You want to help yourself to change. And that will help you to know that others are just like you, that they too need to help themselves so that we can all begin to experience love. And it's not kumbaya. It's deeper. It's far more profound than that. Far more profound. And it takes centuries for all of us to get this. So it's never too late, but we do live in what in Eastern philosophy has been termed as the worst of times, the Kali Yuga. And I would say that they were right on schedule when they predicted that this would be the time that it would really start to be felt. Because if we continue to treat the elements the way that we treat the organs in our body, certainly we're in for more trouble than what we're in currently. But as we learn to treat ourselves better, and I say this to you in this way because I've been pondering on this ever since I had this accident. I've really been pondering on helping myself. And accepting help from everyone else. It's made me remember, not just intellectually, but experientially, that in our worst of times, when we have pain, when we have suffering, when we have something that we have to make a sacrifice, I can't do this because of that, it makes us have an opportunity to remember what we do have, what we really do have. So I look at what's happened, like in the changes that happened in my life since November. as kind of like study hall. When I was in school, I wasn't a very good student. Can you imagine? Person who thinks like I am. Yeah, no, I wasn't a good student. So study hall and we were pretty close friends. Okay, you're going to study hall, Valdez. Okay, that was my punishment. But honestly, I really didn't mind it because now I kind of see like back then it was sort of like my time for meditation because I still wasn't studying what they gave me to study in study hall. Um, but it did help me to look out the window and ponder on the nature of life. So to me, everything's about study hall. I guess like places where people go to worship. You don't have to go anywhere. If you have a beautiful church in your neighborhood, hey, that's lovely. Go in there and feel all of that energy in there and leave your own love in there too. But remember that your home can be a temple too. And of course, you know the old adage, your body is a temple. Hello. Here's a great place to worship comes from the word workship. Work. Spirituality is work. It's service. Service to yourself. It's service to others. It's work. When you work on yourself, you're employed for the rest of your life. It's lifelong work. You get a promotion in the next life because you worked so hard in this life. Oh, but I don't even get to see that. You will. You will. And in your next life, you'll be like, oh God, I'm so grateful. I must have done something good somewhere in my last life because I feel pretty darn good. You'll be thanking your present self as your past self in the future. Did you get that? So remember, friendship is a very deep and beautiful word. And all the words that we're going to have in 2026 are aspects of friendship, learning to be able to see the individual inside of the collective so that we remember true friendship, the individual never goes away. Each individual is as important as every other individual. So the collective becomes so important. Right now, it's like we don't care about the individuals, so the collective and the air and the water and the earth are our collective evidence of how we are with one another. So I hope that over this next month, all through January, that you find it in your heart to ponder on the nature of friendship and observe it in others. Observe it in politicians or not, because it might not be there. Observe it in how you are with animals. Remember, they're having a hard time. Birds, the fish, the mammals in the sea, the trees, the insects, everybody. Everybody's having a difficult time. And we can help each other. And if you feel overwhelmed by that, you only have one job, which is to help yourself. It's your only job, is to help yourself. And notice how I haven't said to you that's selfish, because it isn't. It's selfless. Helping yourself is selfless, because as you help yourself, you'll help yourself to be in a way where you're wanting to give and to forgive. Forgiving of the self helps us to live in a space where we forgive others. Love is, that's what my teacher used to say, love is for the giving. Forgiveness means love is for the giving. Isn't that a beautiful way to understand the word forgiveness? That's part of friendship. Friends forgive each other and they get closer because of it. And they're like, yeah, your words hurt me. And well, your words hurt me. Yeah, they did. but we have enough love for one another that it bonds us and we're stronger for that pain that happened because now we know how to change it into back to love. So all through January, I'm going to ask you to like meditate on the word friendship or variations of it. Variations of it would be love, truth, commitment, those kinds of words. And I hope that 2026 is the year of friendship, where we learn that we not only need one another, but it's imperative that we find one another. Okay? So let us do three ohms together. Have I forgotten anything? Okay. Om. 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 Thank you so much for being here today. May peace be with you. Namaste.